Welcome everyone to the Texas Department of Transportation and the City of Laredo Safety Campaign Press and Outreach event held here in the beautiful downtown Laredo Jarvis Plaza. My name is Blanca Trevino Castro. I'm the Traffic Safety Specialist for the TxDOT Laredo District, and I am so proud to serve this community in a tireless work to save lives. Before moving on with the program, I would like to acknowledge our traffic safety partners who are here with us today, and of course our elected officials. Bienvenidos todos al evento de prensa de la campaña Seguridad Peatonal del Departamento de Transporte de Texas aquí en la ciudad de Laredo, en la Plaza Jarvis. I'd like to acknowledge the Honorable Dr. Victor Trevino, Mayor for the City of Laredo. Mayor. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Chief Miguel Rodriguez for the Laredo Police Department. Sergeant Eric Estrada with the Texas Department of Public Safety. Thank you all for being here. So the objective of today's press event is to bring together Laredo Mayor Dr. Victor Trevino, our law enforcement partners, and of course our traffic safety advocates to raise awareness about the importance of pedestrian safety on the city streets. Before I move on, thank you for always joining us, Ms. Rosa Marquez de Trevino. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for coming.
So first, before I get started, I'd like to invite our district transportation operations, Rafael Guzman, to the podium to set the stage for the press conference event. Rafa?
Good morning. On a Sunday afternoon last fall, Brennan Cole Pickrell laced up her shoes and headed out for a jog with her dog Daisy. Brenna never made it home. A recently married major in the U.S. Air Force, 31-year-old Cole Pickrell, was serving as a security expert at Joint Base San Antonio Lackland, where she was struck in a San Antonio crosswalk. She passed away October 2nd, 2024. Brenda had a brilliant mind, a warm heart, and an unwavering commitment to helping others. Her mother, Linda Cole, said she served her country proudly, and we mourn her loss every day. It hurts to know that it could have been prevented. Cole Pickrell was one of the 773 people killed while walking on Texas roads last year. In Texas, we look out for each other, whether you're a service member or civilian, and that doesn't end when you get behind the wheel. Cole Pickrell fue una señora, ¿no? Vivía en San Antonio, servía la Fuerza Aérea con mucho orgullo. Su mamá perdió la vida caminando en San Antonio, y no es un ejemplo del cuidado que tenemos que tener, ¿no? El Departamento de Texas está haciendo un esfuerzo muy grande para proteger a nuestros peatones. Estamos invirtiendo bastante en nuestras carreteras. Aquí en Laredo estamos poniendo semáforos donde tenemos actividad peatonal, estamos poniendo iluminación, estamos poniendo banquetas donde hemos visto la necesidad. Entonces, como Estado estamos invirtiendo, estamos haciendo nuestro esfuerzo, ¿no? Para mejorar nuestras carreteras, hacerlas más seguras. Pero le estamos pidiendo, no somos los únicos, ¿verdad? También como los que manejamos vehículos tenemos que tener mucho cuidado con nuestros peatones. Les llamamos los más vulnerables de nuestras carreteras, ¿verdad? Los peatones tenemos que tener mucha atención cuando andamos en los caminos, especialmente en áreas como en esta. Como pueden ver, hay mucha actividad peatonal. Hay que siempre tener la expectativa de que alguna persona se pueda cruzar, ¿verdad?, enfrente de nosotros. Hay que tener siempre esa cuidado, ¿no? Pero le pedimos al público también, ¿no?, que use la infraestructura que ya está establecida, ¿no?, los crosswalks designados, ¿no?, las áreas designadas donde es seguro el cruce, ¿verdad? Entonces es un esfuerzo que todos debemos de tener, tanto como Estado como el law enforcement también, pero los peatones y los que manejamos vehículos, para proteger a los más vulnerables en nuestros caminos, que son los peatones. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Rafa. Laredo has recently experienced a rise in pedestrian incidents, but we believe that through collaboration and education, these unfortunate tragic occurrences can be prevented. October, which is the National Pedestrian Safety Month, is the deadliest month of the year for pedestrians in Texas. As the sun sets earlier, more Texans commute in the dark. The shorter days bring an increased risk of people out about and on foot. And drivers may have a hard time spotting them. They would easily be seen during the summer. This is why there are more pedestrian crashes this time of the year. Fewer daylight hours, it can mean harder to see people walking or jogging. Laredo ha experimentado recientemente un aumento en los incidentes con peatones, pero creemos que mediante la colaboración y educación estos desafortunados, trágicos sucesos pueden prevenirse. Octubre es el mes nacional de seguridad peatonal, es el mes más fatal del año para todos los peatones en Texas. A medida que oscurece más temprano, laredenses y tejanos salen en la oscuridad. Los días son más cortos y aumentan el riesgo para las personas que salen de pie. Y a los conductores se les dificulta ver los peatones que fácilmente verían en el verano. Por eso, hoy más atropellados de peatones en esta época del año. La reducción de las horas de luz significa que puede ser más difícil ver a las personas que caminan y corren, especialmente si no usan reflectores. In fact, 67% of fatal pedestrian crashes in 2024 occurred at night. In October of 2024, 89 pedestrians were killed and another 143 were seriously injured in traffic crashes in our state. That's nearly 12% of the 773 pedestrians killed last year. In 2024, there were 62 traffic crashes involving pedestrians here in Laredo, and 7 fatalities and 9 persons were seriously injured. That is why, precisely the reason why TxDOT has brought this campaign to the forefront here in Laredo and across the state. So TxDOT is calling on all Texans to do what Texans do. Look out for each other so that we can all stay safe. Now, it is my pleasure to invite to the podium Laredo Mayor Dr. Victor Trevino for some important remarks on pedestrian safety in Laredo. Mayor Trevino continues to be a constant advocate for safety in this community and supports all of the TxDOT campaigns. Mayor.
Thank you and good morning. Dr. Victor Trevino, Mayor for the City of Laredo. I think this awareness is important because we take it for granted. When we see people on the streets, we have the right of way as motorists and think that the pedestrians should follow our lead. So we think that the pedestrians should not cross when they see the traffic going. But this is not always the case. There's some joggers that may be running and looking at their watch or something and crossing to the street. We have to be aware of that. We have to bring awareness to the motorists that we have to have not only eyes on the road, but eyes on the side of the road. And this goes true because if we would do that, we would reduce the amount of auto pedestrian accidents that we have, not only locally, but all over the country. And in a certain way, I see that this is a culture that is more so in our city because the right of way for vehicles is more looked at as a right for people who drive to have the ability to drive on the road, and pedestrians need to look out for the cars, which should be true. But we also have to return that way of thinking. And because we live in the border city, in Mexico, the right of way to pedestrians is not that evident. That culture sometimes spills over to this side, but that should not be the case. In Mexico, if the pedestrians run into the cars, well, it's his fault because he didn't see the traffic. We don't think like that on this side. And it shouldn't be like that because the advantage is on the vehicle, not on the pedestrian. So knowing all this, we just need to bring awareness, and we need to bring awareness also to the pedestrians, not only to the motorists, where this are avoidable situations. And we, as long as we bring awareness, I think we can make a good impact, but we have to keep on bringing this information forth. And with that in mind, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mayor Trevino, for those words. And for your support. Our collaboration with the Laredo Police Department, facilitated through our TxDOT traffic safety grants, continues to be a valuable partnership that protects and serves the lives in our community. I now call on Chief Miguel Rodriguez of the Laredo Police Department. Chief.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Blanca. Thank you, TxDOT partners. Mayor, thank you for being here today. I think this is a very important issue we talk about every year, right? And just to give you some clarity as to what's going on in our city, right? Last year we had, year to date, a total of 45 auto pedestrian accidents. This year we're already at 47, so we already went up by 2. The good thing, some good news, is that of fatalities, we went from 5 last year to date, to 3 this year to date. So what this means is that we still have a lot of work to do, pretty much. And having known that, is that this is a responsibility that goes 2 ways. It's the responsibility of the pedestrian and the responsibility of the person driving the car, right? We have to create that awareness on both ways. Because I've seen pedestrians cross the street on their cell phones. I've seen pedestrians cross the street texting. Same thing with people driving. So it's a 2-way street on this, and we need to make sure that we continue providing this awareness to continue having and making this city create the culture, get away from the culture that we usually have, which is from Mexico, right? That we really don't respect the pedestrians, but we need to get away from that culture. So again, Laredo keeps on growing. With the growth comes more traffic, and with that traffic becomes more responsible on everybody in the city. So again, thank you, Blanca, for having me today. We want to remind everybody to stay alert, respect pedestrians, and at the same time, pedestrians, make sure that you respect crosswalks. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for joining us today. Next, I invite the Texas Department of Public Safety Sergeant Eric Estrada to the podium. He knows all too well the importance of pedestrian safety. So, Sergeant.
So on the behalf of Texas Department of Public Safety, we'd like to thank Blanca and TxDOT obviously for hosting this very important press event. We know hundreds of crashes involving pedestrians happen not only on state highways but also here within our city. And Chief, on behalf of the department, you have our full support, especially we understand that Halloween is approaching here us shortly, and so you have full support of us if you need any additional personnel around the city. We need people to understand that whenever you are involved in a vehicle accident, especially involving a pedestrian, that you have to stop and you have to render aid. We've seen so many times in the news, unfortunately, where people tend to have these vehicle accidents and they do not stop and they flee from the scene of the accident. And it's very important for them to understand that if they do that, that they could face jail time and potentially other legal yes, so legal things that they could get into that they don't want to face, right? So even though that you might have the right of way as the vehicle on the highway, if you do happen to get involved in a vehicle accident, you should stop and render aid. Some recommendations that we're making as far as DPS, especially with Halloween approaching, for pedestrian traffic, you should look both ways. You should not assume that the vehicle always sees you, especially at nighttime. You should always wear something reflective, especially when you're crossing. If you are going to be crossing, especially children, always cross in groups and pay attention to all the signs. And then for our drivers, right? So whenever you are a driver and you are driving a vehicle, you have to understand that it's a privilege to drive here in Texas. You could lose your license, or you could be suspended if you are involved in any kind of vehicle accidents. However, you should also understand that you should be looking for pedestrians, not only because they see you doesn't mean that they're going to cross. Also be looking at your speed. Speed limit here is a major factor, and it contributes to a lot of vehicle accidents, and we don't want to see that ever happen here. And just for you guys can know, I'm going to read something from Transportation Code, that way you guys know exactly what you must do. So the operator of a vehicle involved in a collision resulting in the injury or death of a person or damage to a vehicle driven or attended by a person shall, and that's very important, shall provide any person injured in the collision reasonable assistance, including transporting or making arrangements for transporting the person to a physician, hospital, for medical treatment if it is apparent that the treatment is necessary. So with that being said, we understand that it's a scary situation to be involved in a vehicle accident, especially involving children, and that is why it's your moral obligation and also your duty as a law-abiding citizen to stop and render aid. And with that, I'll go ahead and finalize it. We wish everyone a happy rest of the year, and let us all do our part to protect our community members here in Laredo.
Thank you, Sergeant Estrada, for being with us today. Drivers should always scan for pedestrians, and pedestrians should wear reflective clothing to carry a flashlight in low light conditions. So what can drivers do to keep pedestrians safe? Stay alert. Look for pedestrians everywhere at all times. Stop. Yield for pedestrians in crosswalk. Yield the right of way to pedestrians when turning. Pay attention. Put your phones away before you begin driving. Be prepared if pedestrians enter your path. Be cautious when passing stopped vehicles. They can block your view of pedestrians crossing. Always follow the speed limits and drive to conditions. Be especially careful if you drive a large SUV or pickup truck. They have large blind spots in front that can make it hard for you to see pedestrians crossing. So what can pedestrians do to stay safe? Always cross the streets only at the intersections and crosswalks. Always make eye contact with drivers' signals. Look left, look right, then look left again before crossing the intersection. When walking, put your phone away, earbuds. Take those tension off and pay attention to the road. Stay visible. Always stay visible by wearing reflective materials or use a flashlight when it's dark. It's very important to stay visible if you are walking or jogging at night. So today's event is part of a series of events in every TxDOT district around the state designed to remind drivers and pedestrians to stay alert and watch out for one another. To help prevent further tragedies in Laredo, TxDOT will display vital safety messages to drivers and pedestrians, shown here, between the hours of 12 and 4 p.m. today here in the downtown area. Showcasing street teams will be walking here, the Jarvis Plaza, and around town. I invite you all to take a few moments to view our pedestrian safety activities. Take photos and share them on your social media to bring attention to stay safe. Finally, I leave drivers and pedestrians with, again, this reminder to always look left, look right, and look left again before crossing an intersection, and always cross at the intersections. Drivers, we urge you, please stay alert and avoid distractions, avoid your phones while driving. This concludes our press event. Please join us for a group photo. Thank you all very much for always helping TxDOT bring these campaigns down to Laredo and for helping us save lives. Thank you all.